Good morning, y'all. Today I want to make a quick video and share with you how to make aluminum nose bridges for homemade personal protective masks. This is a 1mm by 3/8 by 5-inch piece of metal that can be used in a homemade personal protective mask as a nose bridge that's adjustable and form-fitting to the face. These masks are for use on the outside of an N95 or protective blue surgical mask. This nose bridge will create a nice tight seal of the material up against your face once it's put into the pocket of a homemade personal protective mask. In order to create these, it's very simple. I would recommend using aluminum cans. In this case, for today's lesson, I'm using a large size aluminum can, but you can use any size aluminum can as long as that you can create it into 5.5-inch lengths. So in order to begin, we're going to need several tools. I recommend heavy-duty kitchen shears or garden shears or even metal shears. You can use sewing shears if they're heavy duty and if they are sharpened. You'll also need some type of measuring tool. I'm using this measuring tape. You could also use a ruler or a yardstick. Also, you'll need some type of scoring tool, and this is a garden tool that I'm using for scoring the aluminum as well as for pressing with the heel. Once you have the flat strip of metal and you've cut it to size, you'll need to fold it into thirds. And for folding, I'm using a heavy piece of metal that I had laying around the house. You could also use the ruler, the yardstick, a T-square, or an L-square. As you go, you will need to consider that you are creating sharp edges and sharp corners, and you might need personal protective equipment, so you might choose to use garden gloves or hardware rubberized tip gloves. As you go, be careful of the edges and careful of the scissors as you're working. So to begin, what you'll need to do is take your aluminum can, poke a hole into the can so that you can cut off the top portion, poke another hole and cut off the bottom portion. Then you'll want to cut the side and make it into a wide sheet of aluminum. At this point, you might want to clean and sterilize the can as best you can, and then lay out your sheet, maybe with some books or something heavy on the corners, and measure out 3/4 inch by 5.5-inch length strips. You'll lay that out, and I would recommend scoring it with your scoring tool, and then you'll take your scissors and cut out those 3/4 inch by 5.5-inch strips. Once you have your strips cut out, I would recommend taking them and folding them like so. You have your top portion, your center section, which will be your bottom portion, and your third portion. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the outer portions and fold them lengthwise in towards the bottom. So I would recommend taking side 1, folding it in part way, side 2, folding it in part way, so that you can begin to press them into the bottom and make a nice tight crease. As you fold these in lengthwise, you may need some practice, and you may find that they are misaligned. As you begin, fold the crooked one in first towards the bottom, and then fold the second side on top to cover it. This ends portion 1. This ends part 1 of this video, and I will continue on with part 2.